Hello everyone, this is the Duke, and man, have I got a potentially pretty cool game for you. I say potentially because I haven't watched it yet, so as I'm watching it, you guys are watching it. Kind of, even though this is like pre-recorded, but I think you get what I mean. Anyways, this features my personal favorite Zerg player, and I say favorite not because like he's the best Zerg player, but because I don't know, he's freaking EGIdrA. How can you not like EGIdrA, even though the fact that he's a rager and he never really wins? But still, he's EGIdrA. Like, have you guys seen that video? EGIdrA in a nutshell? You should check it out. I'll probably link it, and I'll probably do like an annotation and link it or anything. But anyways, let's get to the game. So the map is Ohana, and spawning the top left is the red Zerg. It is my favorite Zerg player, EG.IdrA. And spawning in the bottom right is the blue Protoss. It is former EG player, but currently, I think the team is it Infinity 7? I can't remember. I'm not sure, but it's iSAxslav. Now, iSAxslav used to play for EG, but then he traded teams, and so yeah, these two players know each other pretty well, and I think they were just playing. You know, they were probably both online on Battle.net. Like, hey, you want to play a match? And they played a match, and I found it on the interwebs, so I decided to cast the game. So anyways, we see iSAxslav scouting, and EGIdrA on this one decides to go pool first, and I imagine he's going to do 14 pool, probably 15 hatch, if I had to guess. He's doing a gasless opening, which generally indicates a 15 hatch opening. Now, as you can see, iSAxslav is going to be going for the block here, which is why his probe is hanging out here, as when you see a spawning pool without gas, it generally means 14 pool, 15 hatch. Now, EGIdrA is a little distracted. He really should just be sending this one drone to chase down this probe, and then he should have another probe start working on this pylon, because this pylon is going to serve to delay EGIdRA's quick expansion, which really is the point of a gasless opening after pool, is so that you can quickly expand. But regardless, he's the pro player, I'm not, so he's going to decide how to handle this. And looks like he's going to be getting to work on it. 4 Lings are on the way right now, and they will take down that pylon, but EGIdrA is saving up a considerable bit. And you know what? He actually decided to put his expansion right here. Sometimes that's a lot of players have started doing this recently, as with the pylon block, it does kind of serve to delay the expansion. And if the expansion is really delayed any more than that, then the game quickly becomes unwinnable, especially against the Forge fast expand like we're seeing out of iSAxslav here. So we saw Forge first, then Nexus after that, and then Gateway. Very quickly, a cannon is going to go down. See, there's the cannon. Right. I even like called it. I guess that's a pretty easy thing to call exactly where that's going to go. And this has been more often the common response to a Forge fast expand opening is a double expand. Usually taking your most relevant third until you destroy the pylon, and then you take your actual expansion, which would be in this position right here. So out of EGIdrA, we still see no gas. So he is going to have slow links for right now. And EGIdrA is going to poke up here and see, oh man, there is in fact a cannon. He did go Forge fast expand on me, which he actually did find out from the scouting overlord. So it's not like it was a huge bit of new news, but he wanted to see if the cannon was finished yet, and in which he did discover that the cannon was in fact finished, and that now he is not going to be able to get in. Especially because this probe here is going to be serving as a block, at least until a Zealot pops or a potential Stalker or something like that. Now, out of iSAxslav in his base, we see double gas has been finished, and when you see double gas a little bit earlier, that generally lends towards either, well, more commonly in pro games you see a fast Colossus, especially against Zerg, because Colossus just makes so much sense against Zerg, as every unit is just very capable of getting burned alive by Colossus, because, I mean, let's face it, Colossus OP. So iSAxslav pokes up in here and he sees, oh man, EGIdrA did take his third base. So EGIdRA's now on 3 bases, whereas iSAxslav is only on 2 bases. Really, this is kind of just the common Zerg metagame to just be ahead 1 base at a time. And in reality, if you look at the income tab, he's only barely ahead even though he is on 3 bases. But this will very quickly change, as EGIdrA is a more macro-oriented player. So he is going to start droning pretty hardcore. And that's kind of just been the overall meta game for a lot of pro games lately. It's just more of a focus on a macro game and sort of making the games longer. You don't see a whole lot of games that are over in 10 minutes. it's kind of a thing of the past, mostly because you know, with Terrans, if it's any game with Terran, a lot of players have figured out how to deal with a reactor Hellion opening, or even like a 1/1/1 into a cloaked Banshee. Queens prevent a lot of other things. The new queens, at least, they prevent banelings, really. They even make it more difficult for Protoss to sort of push, because even though Stalkers have that range, queens can more quickly pick off Zealots, while Lings get a nice surround on them without the queens having to get up in the action. Now, back to the game. EGIdRA is moving out with his slow Lings. Speed is about 75% done, so momentarily we'll start seeing speed. And EGIdRA pokes around here, and he does see that Axslav is trying to take a third base. And not only that, he's dropping 4 gateways here. This is a lot of gates to drop down this early in the game. So if EGIdRA is... It'll be interesting to see how EGIdRA chooses to react to this. I mean, 4 gates. That's 4 gates this early in the game on 3 bases. That's kind of terrifying. But EGIdRA is going to go for a surround on the photon cannon, see if he can poke in here. At least, because really these photon cannons are the only thing keeping this expansion alive until all the gates finish, and then you can start warping in units. He's going to pick off the units and the photon cannons. And the thing is about static defense is, like, it's hard to decide how much static defense to build, because early game cannons are kind of expensive. 150 each. That's it's a bit of money, even if you are on the 2 bases, which he is. 150 minerals on a cannon it's a lot of money to spend, especially when those cannons had limited effectiveness. Now, if we look at the income tab, we see that EGIdRA has been droning hardcore, like I told you he would. He's at over 70 harvesters, and his income is over 2,000. Now, he hasn't been mining a lot of gas, and because the early game for Zerg primarily consists of Lings. Occasionally, when you see a Roach Warren, you'll obviously see Roaches, but early game Zerg against Protoss does consist highly of Lings, as Stalkers are a pretty effective counter towards Roaches. It's just kind of how it is, even though Roaches are supposed to be, pretty beefy. They have 45 health, and they do 16 damage per shot without upgrades. So you would think Roaches would be a more effective unit, but their DPS is just... Their attack rate is just too slow to make them a viable unit. Now, as we see, EGIdRA is pulling Lings, and he's got a Baneling nest on the way right here. There's the Baneling nest. Now, EGIdRA is on layer tech, so he can get the Pathogen Glands upgrade. But interesting thing to note, EGIdRA is going for 2/2 on ground carapace and melee attacks. But the other important thing to note is that he's also going for missile, or not missile, I'm sorry. He's going for ventral sacks and the speed upgrade. Basically, he's going to be going for a sort of Doom Drop, and I imagine it's probably going to be a Baneling Doom Drop. Now, Baneling Doom Drop against Mass Stalker is immensely effective, especially if you bring a lot of Overlords, because the tendency will be to focus fire on Overlords. The thing is, how do you can't tell which Overlords are loaded or not. So there's a good chance that they'll probably, especially if you lead with your main Overlords, with your empty Overlords, the Protoss player will most likely try and snipe the Overlords that are in front, which have nothing in them, whereas the actual cargo, the Banelings, will rain down, what is that? I guess the appropriate thing to say is acid death upon Stalkers. Now, Axslav did research hallucination, and he hallucinated 2 Phoenixes, just to sort of give him a little bit of scouting information. Now, with this first scout, he sees, oh man, EGIdRA's going to Hive Tech. He's going for a Spire as well, and EGIdRA is on 4 bases, actually. So most likely we're going to start seeing some Broodlords out of EGIdRA. It's probable, really, at this moment. Pathogen Glands upgrade is about halfway done for EGIdRA as well as a couple of Infestors. The Infestors at this point in time will serve to hold the Stalkers still while the Broodlords do their actual damage. And here's that Doom Drop I was talking about. Just 3 Overlords for now, and a handful of Lings coming in. Now, the Lings will get the surround on any possible Stalkers, and the Doom Drop will actually kill the Stalkers. I'm sorry, guys, for that yawn. It's a little late. I do most of my casting at night, so if I'm a little tired, I probably should do it during the day, but I just find myself busy with other things during the day. So here's a little bit of that Doom drop action going on. Now, a couple of Templar are in here, and they are going to get caught by these things, which is really unfortunate for Axslav to lose, as Templar costs so much gas. In fact, High Templar actually costs quite a bit of minerals, too. So to lose High Templar is, especially just to Lings, and without even getting a good cast off, that's kind of defeating, really. And this hero Zergling manages to pick off a lone Zealot. Now, Axslav does have this force, which is consisting primarily of Stalkers, which will actually be great against any Broodlords, but as of right now, there aren't any Broodlords. So EGIdrA doesn't have much to worry about. He is moving out with a bunch of Lings, and he actually does have a couple. He has an Infestor or two here, and the Infestor is going to get some, well, if he micros his Infestor. So he did manage to get a couple of Fungals off on the lots, and here comes those Baneling drops. Baneling drops are going to clean up, actually. Well, see, the Baneling drops are going to clean up enemy Stalkers. However, the Baneling drops got another incredibly vital and expensive unit. The Baneling drops actually got all of the sentries. And sentries, 100 gas, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of gas to spend. So, nice drop there by EGIdrA getting the sentries. You see a big Zealot warp in here, and looks like Axslav is going to be going for Archons, which are great against every single Zerg unit and building. Especially when his units have +2 attack, and +2 armor is on the way as well. On EGIdRA's side of the map, we see a bunch of Lings, couple Infestors, about 7 here, and Corruptors are coming out. No Broodlords yet, even though the Greater Spire is finished. EGIdrA decided to drop another Spire so that he could start doing upgrades when the time was appropriate. But I'm guessing that time isn't now. And it looks like a little bit of an engagement here. EGIdRA's moving in with Lings, trying to bait him into these Spine Collars, which make all the difference in defending, at least until the incredibly vital Broodlords come out. We do have a couple here. And let's see, so we've got 5 total Broodlords on the map right now, just 5. And interestingly enough, there's a warp prison somewhere on the map. I'm not entirely sure where, but I just know that there is. Now, this, I believe EGIdrA does see this. Yeah, he sees the fleet beacon. He sees the Stargate. So he knows there's probably going to be a mothership soon enough. And it looks like Axslav might be going for that trademark Archon toilet. Archon toilets are just completely devastating. Ooh, some really nice storms from Axslav there. Managing to get all the Lings, which are incredibly essential to even the Stalker skill. And he actually gets some nice feedbacks on the Infestors. However, there's a lot of Infestors here, and not to mention the couple of Templar he has in his army use all of their energy on those side storms on just those Lings. Which actually, with the Fungals kept the Stalkers in place, and the Broodlords cleaned up a lot of the Stalkers. Now it looks like Axslav is going to be going for a bit of a drop into EGIdRA's base. However, EGIdRA's base is pretty fortified. He does have 4 Spine Crawlers here, and these 4 Spine Crawlers will make it incredibly difficult for him to really get anything done. These 2 Queens are just going to go to town, and as you can see by these Queens doing their melee attacks, this is a pre-patch game before the Queens got the range upgrade. But nonetheless, Queens are OP now, so it's not like it matters. Now, major engagement here. These Broodlords are just cleaning up units like it's nobody's business. And only a couple Stalkers here really to defend against these Void Rays. And these Stalkers are so very easily going to get cleaned up, especially because the Broodlords are focusing down the Stalkers. Tons of Broodlings streaming it, not to mention a lot of Lings, too. EGIdRA is very in control of this game. Axslav is sitting safely on 3 bases. He's trying to get this 4th base up, but there's just not a chance that this is going to happen. There are too many Lings and too many Broodlords here really to deal with this, especially because the Lings are just wrecking the Stalkers. This is just looking really bad for Axslav. EGIdRA's ahead by 60 supply, and EGIdRA is pulling ahead just so quickly. And it looks like in this battle of former teammates, I'm pretty sure EGIdRA's going to take this. Not unless EGIdRA makes a huge mistake, or just prematurely GG's, both of which are completely possible because we have seen it do it. And you know what? And as I say it, Axslav GG's. So congratulations to EGIdRA. Very well played game. A lot of potential for things to work really against EGIdRA, but again, Broodlords are just so awesome. Look how cool these things are. I'm going to zoom in here. I don't know if you guys have like seen that cartoon where it's hard to describe, but basically there's like a brood lord, and then some broodlings spawn, and like the broodlings start talking to each other, and then suddenly the broodlings are getting flicked at Protoss units. It's pretty funny. I don't know. I can't even remember what it's called, so I can link it to you. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this game. I enjoyed casting it and talking about it, and let me know what you thought in the comments. If you liked it, you disliked it. If you want to see more of EGIdrA or more of Axslav, just let me know. And thanks for watching, guys.